Back again for another video. On today's video, we will be discussing the influence of black men. I'm going to make a few contrasts on this video, but do not take any of them seriously to heart. Though what I am saying is very factual to my belief, and they come with a bit of anecdotal experiences, this is just my position based on what I see. Anyone who wishes to challenge this, by all means, make your video and I'll respond. Maybe. We'll see. Maybe not. But anyways, I want to talk about the power of men. And I want to talk about it very specifically to black men. Since we have been in this country, we have been marginalized in a lot of ways, through the way of having our woman being put above us and us no longer having individual representation as a subsection of black culture. Also having to deal with the segregation in regards to marrying out. We were not allowed to marry anyone else other than our race for a very, very long time. I would say probably 85 to 90% of our existence in this country. So we were stunted in that way as well. We were not able to own land, and this is unilaterally across the black culture in the way that white people were. Though we do understand that even at that time where they were doing redlining, that black men had the ability to own and buy land and houses and such things like that, and we were barred from doing that. But there is something about us that has never been able to be imitated in the way that we do it, to be created in the way that we do it. Even if it is black women still don't have the ability to do what we can do as a people, as black men. No matter where you go in this world, no matter where you've been in this world, people know us. People know black men. No matter if it is a flawed view, no matter how it is seen, people know who we are, and they're beginning to know more of us intimately, more and more intimately. And this is because of our gift that no one else has on the planet Earth. Not even the Africans have this gift like we have. No one has this gift. And this gift is our creativity. Now, this is not to discount that any other culture may not have creativity. No, I'm not saying that. Or that even black women don't have creativity, because everyone has a certain level of creativity. But what I'm contrasting here, and the point that I'm making, is that there's no one on earth who has the level of creativity that black men do. How can I say this with such confidence, you may wonder? Simply put, look at our history. For the past 100 some odd years, our music, the things that we created have been indoctrinated into the culture and into the world. We only represent a very small section of the world as black people, and especially as black men. How is it that such a small group of people have such a long-reaching voice, a long-reaching viewpoint, how we see things, how we articulate things, our charisma, our masculinity, all these things collectively? The world knows us. I've talked about this previously before, but I'm going to talk about it in a different way. Because, as much as I would love for black women to understand exactly what I'm saying, majority of them will not. It's because they are indoctrinated by the culture, by white supremacy, my opinion. And in this indoctrination, they are taught that the overreaching class of people are the most influential people on the earth, excluding them as well. And if they submit and if they go along to get along with what the overreaching culture says, then they can have a piece of the pie too. But here's the thing that they are not realizing, that if you want to ride on someone's coattails, the black man is the best man to ride on the coattails of, because we're known worldwide. We can come directly from the bottom, and in months, maybe years, the world will know our individual names. Now, people would say, well, there are other actors and, there are other people who, do this and that and, blah, blah, blah. Well, I would argue again that no matter what genre, what type of face that we're on, people know us intimately, more intimately than they have before. They get to see our characterization through how we are portrayed, whether it's someone else portraying us or us portraying ourselves. Nonetheless, our faces are well known across the world. And due to this fact, like I said, it'll be incumbent upon black women to definitely hold on to your nearest black man. Once again, the reason why is if whatever you're trying to do, whatever you're trying to accomplish in this world, best believe that being with a black man is probably the best way to accomplish those things. And people once again would argue that. They would say, well, I can get with a white man and my life will be so much better, blah, 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 this and that. But you have to understand, once again, we're going by your chances of success. There are more white men in this country than there are black men in this country. But yet we are known well more than those white men in this country across the world when you compare it, because we only represent 13-14% of the population. They represent some odd 70%. And let's say that we split both in half for male and female. That'll be 35% male for the white people, and that'll be 7% male for the black people. You mean to tell me that we have a longer reaching voice and a longer reaching influence than 5 times our gross, 5 times our entire collective? Come on, think about it. 5 times 7 is 35, right? So it would take 5 times what we are just to equal one of us for them to be able to do what we do. And you as a BW still believe that you're on the winning team if you select other than us? Come on, the math doesn't add up. And that's not to say that every black man in America is just automatically successful just because he's black. Come on, I know better than that. But what I'm saying is that you have a greater chance of success in this world, a greater chance of accomplishing your goals than you do with anybody else. Especially when you and, like I said, the other types of men out there who are well known to be at the bottom of the dating pool are at the bottom. How is it that you stand right next to us, but yet you reject us in regards to our leadership, but yet you're at the bottom you're lower than us at the bottom? Wouldn't it be smarter for you to reach up to the next nearest branch if you're trying to go up? And the crazy part about that next nearest branch, which happens to be us, is that we have an influence over this world that no one else has. Look at us. From the inventions that we've created, from the civil rights movements that we've done things for not only the people in our country who exist here and who will continue to exist here, but other people who plan on coming to this country. Now, I'm not going to discount that the large majority of the civil rights movement was hijacked by white women. But at the same time, if it were not for us, a lot of people who look like us, who came to this country, would not have the ability to critique us in the way that they do, because they will be considered just the same. So all the ones who come to this country and say, well, black men aren't doing this, black women aren't doing this, the Americans, this and that, well, you wouldn't have the ability to even for that to even be on your radar if it were not for these people that you criticize. But that's neither here nor there. My whole point of what I'm talking about is that black men, we have an ability that the rest of the world does not. And I think that everybody's starting to realize this. But I'm wondering, because I know my answer to this, but I can't speak for the rest of you. I'm wondering if you'll come back to the table. If once they realize what the gift, or excuse me, what the prize that you are represents is actually known once they come into it. I wonder if when they realize that, once they realize what you are, will they treat you the way that you're supposed to be treated? And then at that time when that comes, will you accept them? That is the number one question that I have for black men in regards to their future. I'm definitely SYSBM, so we already got that out the way. There's no questions there. But as far as when you're beckoned to come back to the table, because now people realize what's been so obvious across the world, will you come back to the table? My answer is a solidly hell no, probably. I think most of us have seen enough carnage, and we have been neglected, and we have been unappreciated for a very long time. And I don't think that we can show ourselves to be benevolent under a system against the women who have stood against us for a long time, and accept them accepting us. I think we're at a point where we no longer care, and we aren't coming back to the table. But I don't know. Like I said, I can't speak for every black man out there. I know that I am pretty much off of this society. It turns my stomach, to be frankly honest with you. I'm very appalled about the way this country treats black men, including the BW. And this is not talking about all BWs, by the way. We have to make that disclaimer, because a lot of our actual sisters are not to the stage of enlightenment to be able to discern who's talking about them and who's not. So I will give you this one, that we are not talking about the women who actually support us and actually revere us in the way that we should be supported and revered. I'm talking about the lost ones, the completely lost ones, the ones who will never come back, and their generations ahead of them are completely destroyed before they even had a chance to step out the door, because they were not enlightened. So we're not talking about you upcoming sisters, but I'm wondering, if they will come back, how much will they beg? Because like I said, we have something that cannot be bought. Here's the difference between black men and the BW. While BWs do have something to buy from time to time, black men, our whole entire existence is a commodity. It is something that cannot be purchased anywhere else in the world. You cannot replicate this, and they have tried. I mean, they tried it with what's my man's name? The King of Rock. They tried it with him. They tried to create swing R&B and hip hop that are not hip hop. They tried to create that swing rock. They weren't able to reproduce that. And guess what? Every time that they tried, he came back with something that was more original than they could ever produce. You can't replace us. We're irreplaceable to the entire world. Period. This is the difference between us and a lot of the BWs, because they are irreplaceable. There is nothing that they have that other women don't in regards to how they express themselves, how they control themselves, what they represent to the black man and other men. Give us something that we can't replace, and you will not be replaceable. But until then, it still stands the way I said. Those women are replaceable. But the black man itself, we are not replaceable. See, a lot of people don't understand that. And I'm here to say once again, like I've said plenty of times, that if a black man takes any other woman in this entire world and he has a child with that woman and he stays with that woman, that child will be brought up in a black household. Now, if a BW did this, that child will not be brought up in a black household. Why? Because women assimilate to the larger authority. That's what they do. They assimilate to the authority that they believe is going to elicit the outcome that they want. So they'll sell themselves out for short-term pleasantries, pretty much, if you are that type of BW. I'm not talking about my sisters once again, but those type of women, they do not, this is what you also understand, that women perpetuate culture. They don't necessarily create it, because men are the creators. Once again, that's what I'm saying here. You can't buy our culture anywhere else in this world. So we have a monopoly on this. If the black men were to leave the BW completely and create our own society, the culture that the BW picks up behind whatever man that she is with, that's what she's going to perpetuate, because that's what women are made to do. They're made to perpetuate the culture. Remember, women don't necessarily create, they procreate, right? They meaning that they take something and they multiply it. I've talked about this before. She is going to multiply that man's culture, meaning that she is going to reverberate it down the generations. But as the generations goes on, she's going to lose touch with her blackness in her own society that she chose to be with. But when you do that to a black man, they tried to buck break us. They tried to beat it out of us. They tried to isolate us. They tried everything they could to destroy us as the identity of being a black man. They tried for 400 years plus. And look, we are not confused. We don't have identity confusion. We don't want our eyes to be green. We don't care to have conked hair anymore. That's what the style was back in the 50s, when the black man used to do perms and everything like that. We've evolved past that. We don't want to identify or to associate our identity with our oppressors. We want to be us. We are the standard of beauty when it comes to men, period. We know this, and that's how we maintain ourselves. But anyways, I've talked long enough. I hope you guys get my point on this one. But like, comment, and share. Check me out on Facebook. I will be uploading more videos to Facebook because people generally like to use Facebook. I might be starting an Instagram, like I said before. We'll see. I'll try to make the videos a lot more shareable. You guys can cut out whatever pieces you want and use them for whatever things that you want to do to help push the message in a positive manner. I don't mind that at all. But do also check out my Patreon, because I have a few videos on there that I have not released here. And that's how it will continue to be. But anyways, until next time, this has been a Wolf in Beta Clothes. May you have a good day. And don't forget, peace be with you.